Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade
Shade
and
in
the
the
City.
City.
I'm your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today we are getting into our review of Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 16. So if you have not already, please make sure that you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And welcome back, Shade Squad. And welcome to all of our new viewers. And yes, we are a little delayed. I had to attend a wedding. I just want to send a shout out. Congratulations to my cousin Shamar and his beautiful wife, Kirsten.
Congrats,
Welcome to the family.
guys.
It was a great experience. I had a great time and y'all did y'all thing. But yes, y'all, now we got to get into these other married couples who were just doing this at first sight and they ain't together. So we're gonna get into it and we're gonna get shady.
So, Kristen and Mitch, apparently they're in a really good place. They're doing face masks. She's cleaning his.
Mask, it looks like.
Yeah. What is it?
I thought it was a mud mask. It looked like a mud mask.
Oh,
But
it
face
probably was.
masks nowadays, it could be so many other different. It could be
Yes, it could.
avocado. It could be anything. But
I'm sure it was. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'm sure it was
Um,
for the earth and the environment.
exactly. Could have been seaweed for all the fuck we know.
Right. It was eco.
Um, some sand. Who the hell knows?
Right.
Um, so she's also cleaning Mitch's wrinkle, kind of the same way she does Luna's.
Which I
And
thought was funny.
Mitch is
And my
loving
notes are the
it.
same thing, kind of like she does Luna's.
Yeah, and she does. And Mitch is loving it. He's loving being pampered. And Kristen is love doing it. Now she's a Virgo, right? Because I know I had him mixed up with
Yeah.
Miguel. Because I thought he was an Earth sign. I thought he was a Capricorn, right? But
I yes, I will double
Kristen
check,
is
but I do
actually a
Kristen's a Virgo.
Virgo. See, we love catering. That's why she loves it. We get joy out of doing shit like that when you deserve it. When you deserve it.
She said, "Let me cater to you, cause baby,
We're
this is
natural nurturers. We just can't help it, to be honest. So Mitch says, they're picking up each other's habits and kind of becoming each other, and he's loving it. Kristen mentions,
I was like, Mitch's and Chris.
right? Mitch's Kristen mentions having sexy time with their face mask on. And of course, Mitch finds the shit funny. He tells her, that's the definition of body. I
I
okay,
don't
so
know what Urban Dictionary Mitch.
right, because when we be talking about body, yaddy, we be
Right,
talking about body.
our body.
I don't know. So in the confessional, Mitch says he
Kristen
does have a
is a
lot of
Virgo,
fondness.
a Leo.
Huh?
Kristen is a Virgo, and Mitch is a Leo.
Mm.
It makes a lot of sense now why he is the way he is.
Why did I not realize this man was a Leo?
He's stubborn and stands in his convictions. He's absolutely a Leo.
And thinks he's a leader.
Yep.
For him, well, for whatever he looked up, whatever Urban Dictionary he used, he says body is someone who finds humor in sex. Also the definition of Mitch. Um, and in the confessional, he says that he does have a lot of fondness and affection towards her, but he still does have some doubts whether they are, the right match for a lifetime of marriage. Now, Kristen, she met with her friend Lila.
Is it Lila or Lila?
We gonna call her L Boogie.
That works. Okay.
We gonna call her L Boogie. Okay. Not taking away from this L Boogie right here, but since we don't know this one's name, we're gonna call her L Boogie. All right. So Kristen met with her friend L Boogie, and she asked Kristen, how she feeling? Kristen says, she's feeling at peace, calm, and like she's done everything, like she's gotten everything off her chest. And now it's time to decide whether they can continue or not. So L Boogie asked her where she's at in her decision. And she says it's a hard decision because there's so much good there, but feels that Mitch, has had a craving
for validation. Child, she says she wants him without her having to write it on a notepad or scream it from the mountaintops.
To ask her to say yes.
Basically, she wants a grand gesture.
From
don't
a Leo.
We all, sister, don't we all?
From a Leo.
Good luck. She says she's not looking for anything magical. She just wants more verbals. She doesn't think the marriage was what she thought it would be at this point. Now, Leela asks if she has time to give Mitch an opportunity to change. And she asked, what if she stays married and it doesn't work out? And she just says, her eggs will just have to be dehydrated and unfertilized.
And fall from her butt.
Did she say that?
Yeah, she said it fall out her butt.
This is why her and Mitch were paired.
I thought the same thing.
That's exactly why they were paired.
I thought the same thing. When she said that, she was like, and fall out my butt. I was like,
so Mitch sits down with Matt, his brother. Matt realizes he's on the fence right away. He talks about their time. Well, Mitch talks about their time on the retreat. And he says Kristen is finally comfortable being herself. He says, but he loves when she's being herself. And he says he left to go on his trip and going back to his old life. He has a hard time imagining what life would be like with Kristen on a normal everyday basis. And this really irritated my soul, y'all. I've surfed only 3 or 4 times this week. I've only rode my bike twice.
He doesn't give me Leo energy. Or he doesn't give me Leo energy when he's into you. Leo, I think I never realized that he was a Leo because not just a Leo, but most fire signs, but mainly a Leo. When they're into you,
Right.
There's no denying it. They are.
Well, did you, to that point, we'll get to that, but I think he touches on that. I'm not gonna, because I don't want to go jump too soon and you be talking shit. So I'm gonna be quiet and just hold it, but hold that energy because I think he explains that.
Okay.
Matt tells Mitch that he associates being married to Kristen with being unhappy because he feels like he can't do the things that he used to do. Mitch says with decision day coming, he feels like he and Kristen could make it work and live a life they both love. Okay. He says he does love her and has a lot of affection for her, but he's not in love with her. Matt asks if when it's just them, does he enjoy their time together? Matt points out that him just being able to say that he thinks Mitch doesn't realize how rare that is
to find that type of connection.
Right. Mm-hmm. And just be in their space and not, even if there's no words, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He tells him that feeling of trust and partnership is a core thing. Mitch feels like she has to accept him where he is. He knows she wants this grand display of affection, and he can't do it. He knows that she also knows he can't fake through it. Matt says that he's scared that he's going to walk away from a good thing because Mitch has naive or too high of expectations. Mm-hmm. He says he may be able to convince her to accept a less empathetic yes, and him just expressing he wants to be with her, maybe not even a I love you would do the job. And Mitch still feels like, he still doesn't know.
I'm glad his brother said that though, because he's showing him that at least show her where you're at.
Right.
Versus saying, well, I'm not where you want me to be. So you know what I mean? At least show her where you're at and show her that you do want to continue this. So I think it's dope that Mitch has an older brother who's more mature. Is he older? Is he older?
Old, I believe he's older and he's married.
Married, more mature,
Yeah.
has a family, and can give him great advice. So I think that's dope. So Stasha met up with her friend Jewel, to catch up with what's been going on. And Jewel wants to know, how married life has been. Now, let me tell you something. If I ask Trace how married life has been, and her response is, it's been difficult. After only 2 months, it's going to be a problem. But that's what Stasha tells
We're gonna be having some annulments.
me, right? But Stasha, that's her response. Her response is, it's been difficult. And she tells her that one of the issues is that they had a disagreement because, he's very scared to live with her. And that, if they get into an argument or what have you, he won't have a place to go. And Sasha doesn't understand why, this is even a thought in his mind. So Jewel tells her that, he needs that reassurance that, it's not going to happen. And
Right.
Sasha's like, I've done that. I feel like I've given all the reassurance I can. And everything she tried is not working.
Mm.
So Jewel tells her that, she's rooting for her. But is this the right man for you, boo?
Okay, because at the end of the day, your best interest is my interest.
Period. Stasha says that she believes that he has those things that she wants, like their mannerisms, like, you know, and like things that she likes. She says that she does believe that she is somewhere else, that he's somewhere else emotionally. They're both, two different wavelengths.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just inexperienced. You don't want to call him immature or,
That's what it is.
say
Yeah.
he's lacking, but he's inexperienced. And Stasha says a concern for her is he's never been in love, and says that, he's lived with a previous girlfriend before
For 2 years.
and she was in love, but he wasn't.
Well, she said that's what she thinks. But when they were talking about it, she was like, well, what happened? And she was just like, I feel like maybe she was in love, but he wasn't. He was just going through the motions.
I mean, you're not gonna have like as a woman, normally you're not gonna have a
Right.
guy living with you for 2 or 3 years, um, and you don't feel
Y'all
like
just
he's in love with you. Normally, you're doing it because y'all are in love together. So she
right.
feels like that's scary. She don't want to go through that. She doesn't want to be in a loveless marriage, which is completely understandable. She's like, I'm moving this dude into my house, my dream home, the one that, I'm trying to compromise on decorations and all types of shit. For
Right.
this motherfucker 2 to 3 years down the line to tell me, I still don't love you. I'm still not in love with you. But we're married and I'm gonna have your babies.
And
And
she refuses to be in a loveless marriage. And I'm not mad at her. She's not going for it.
no,
And
I
like
get
I
it.
said, I think I said it from the beginning. Whatever she saw her mother go through, that also caused her trauma as well. And she's just not here for it.
So Nate seeks some advice. He's on FaceTime with his father, Joe, and his sister, Aaliyah. Did
Is
you
that
get Aaliyah?
Aaliyah? Is that
Do we got to call her A Boogie?
okay? Alia? Could it be pronounced? They never really said her name, but it could be Aaliyah.
I just figured the easier way was Aaliyah. But they did never say her name.
Right. Okay. We'll go with Aaliyah. It looks right.
And basically, he tells them that one of his issues is moving in, and he feels like he's gonna lose his identity, and it makes him more vulnerable. And what if it doesn't work out? He has no place to stay. So Nate tells his dad that, you've been through this. Like, what's your advice? Because he been married, and his dad is like, even though I've been married, yes, I'm not anymore. Basically, I feel like the dad was like, you coming to me for advice, but
Please know
it
what
didn't
happened.
work out.
Right.
Period. Um, and he was like, but there's compromises that need to be made, and there's always tension in the beginning, and everything's not perfect. His sister asked him if there's any cons that he can think of in the relationship. And he says the big one is that she's 37 and she wants kids. He says that he wants kids. He just wants to be able to provide. And she wants to have fun and, doesn't feel that it's possible to do that with a 2-year-old. His daddy tells him, no, 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 no.
That's not true.
That's not true. As long as you're a dedicated father, you take care of your kids. You got to do what you got to do. Okay.
Right.
So Nate actually seems to agree now that his daddy told him so. Okay. Nate says it scares him sometimes, because he's never done it. Of course, he would be a new dad. Of course, it scares him. And his dad tells him that, if you guys truly love each other, it'll work. His sister asks if he's gonna go, what he's gonna do on decision day. And his dad tells him, look, homie, you ain't getting no younger.
Basically.
And he says that he just doesn't want to he just wants to be mentally ready and doesn't want to feel pressured.
All right. Lindy is on a virtual call with her friend Candace.
This is the non-iPhone user. Of course, she would say a virtual call versus FaceTime, but
whatever. Why is it on a computer and not your phone? Anyway.
Because FaceTime works that way. You can do it on both.
So does Zoom. So
but not Android.
Lindy is on a virtual call with her friend Candace. Okay. She's trying to talk to her about Miguel, but has her kids and her husband around, so she's a bit distracted. Now, Lindy laughs and tells her, don't ever do that around Miguel. Basically tells her how Miguel got upset with her for being so distracted when having a conversation. Candace empathizes with Lindy and says that she's very similar, and talks about how when she does something wrong, that Miguel stonewalls her.
It sounded a lot like Candace was going through the same thing. Did you pick up on that?
Candace says, so you being you makes him react this way. And Candace doesn't really have any advice and feels they're still figuring out their dynamic. So they need to find that middle ground. Candace actually gets emotional on the call. Apparently she got her own going on at home. But she says that, it's more about who needs more in that moment and maybe putting yours to the side for that particular situation and being strong for that other person when they need it and vice versa.
I have something to say about that.
What?
Initially, that sounded like great advice.
Right.
For whoever needs it more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the heat of the moment, how do you decide who needs it more? You're going to feel like you need it more.
Right.
They're going to feel like they need it more.
Well,
I don't know.
Candace, we don't know what Candace is going through, and I'm glad
that's true. And you know what? She actually said, I don't know what to tell you. She's like, basically like I'm going through my own shit. But I did feel like even though she felt like she was going through her own shit and really couldn't give advice, she still, tried to give a couple of pointers.
Yeah. Okay.
They weren't super helpful, but
right. Bless her heart. We're gonna pray for Lindy and Candace.
We need Lindy to call somebody else.
Right. Lindy says it feels like problem after problem, and it's just overwhelming.
Justin is on FaceTime with his mom, Sharon.
Well, he actually is on FaceTime.
You would know because FaceTime can be on an iPad, it can be on a computer, it can be on a phone. I know Android doesn't have all those capabilities, but
we have Duo. Go ahead.
Everybody has Duo.
Bye.
He let her know that he gave up Maya that week and says that, he was under the impression that it was an automatic yes on decision day from his wife after doing that. And, that they were just going to continue their marriage.
She basically recognizes that he's nervous and tries to tell him that it's okay. He feels as if Alexis could have just told him if she wasn't going to say yes. So he didn't.
He could have just kept his dog. I get it. Right. I get it, Justin. I get it. You know what though? The problem for me is that Alexis is making it seem like, oh, you want my decision to be based off the fact that you gave your dog away. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, I wanted you to communicate that it wasn't an absolute yes for you before I gave away my original baby for the baby I just met 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, 2 months ago.
That's true. So yeah, he gave away the dog. His mother tells him, and I love what she said, that you can plan a lot of things, but you can plan to go across the street and get a coffee. You don't plan to get hit by the bus, but it happens. And I was like, what is this getting hit by vehicles?
Right. This is not the first time we heard this in the
No, because
season.
Lindy was getting hit by a bus in the last
Right.
review.
But you know what? She has insurance.
Right. She tells Justin not to overthink it. His mom asks if he wants to say no. And he says that 2 days ago he actually did, but that for him, he needs to feel desired. He said he needs to feel fire and desire.
I knew you was gonna go there with
it. And yeah, he don't feel that. He says on an intimate level, she's a bit more adventurous than him, is the word we're gonna use. And in the bedroom, and he wonders if he can live up to her standards. And so his mama said, well, you need to get your freak on. Freak on. Get your freak on. Like, come on, Justin, what are you doing?
Like, sir, you don't have all this height for nothing.
But you know what? Justin gives me the type he doesn't watch porn. Like, he's playing Monopoly with his boys when he goes out. He's not watching that. Anything, like, he's not going to the strip club. He's not. So Justin's not. So he may not be. And Alexis gives me, she's probably going to the strip club with her girl.
You know what Justin gives me as to why he's not that way? That he gets rejected a lot. And that's why he's not the type to go to the strip club or go to the club or what have you. And
no, because from what Justin say, all them girls want to know what's in them jeans.
Can any of these ladies step forward?
Tell me, is there any more?
And we find out he's not even a freak. And let me say something. I can tell you, not every tall man is well endowed.
Well, I'm just saying. Alexis calls her mom for some advice. Her mother asks her how she's feeling and where she's leaning to on decision day. Alexis tells her she isn't sure because he has a lot of great qualities. Her mother understands her uncertainty based off the amount of time that they've had. She then talks about how he's so in his head and doesn't invite her into these scenarios, which is a problem for her. She says she can't comfort his overthinking if she doesn't know what his thoughts are about. Alexis feels like
they don't have the safety bubble, she said, of the experiment.
By the bubble of the experiment. She feels like when the training wheels come off, then what? So her mom says she doesn't want her to stay because she's a runner. She says marriage is special and she wants her to stay because that's what, basically she really wants to do.
Well, everybody gets together for their little group gathering, as they seem like they do almost every episode. Right? I'm going to shade us. I'm going to shade us both because we don't like taking notes on that shit.
It's not fun.
But they decide to do some like doom buggy go-kart looking things. I mean, I think it's go-karts, but they're like,
that's a thing in San Diego. That's a thing. They're everywhere.
They're like tiny. So like, I don't know like what they are. Anyways, so Mitch says that he's having a good time, but he's super jealous that Alexis and Justin have the electric one.
And it's cleaner and faster.
Because it's cleaner and it's faster. They're out here whooping their ass. Now, I would have thought the gas ones were faster. Because that's not normally how it works with four-wheelers and stuff. But anyways, so Alexis on this shit going ape shit crazy. Okay? If I was Justin, I would be scared as hell.
He's like, whip it hard. Whip it real hard.
Period. She is literally passing everybody. She is leaving them in the dust. Dasha feels this is great. She loves meeting up with everybody and seeing how they're doing, especially with decision day coming up. In the confessional, Nate says he has a lot of emotions coming up for him because he has to think about, spending the rest of his life with a partner that he barely knows. And he says he feels a lot better, like he'll feel a lot better once all this is over with, after he makes his decision. So, everybody sits down. Apparently it is freezing in San Diego. They got they got little hand warmers and all types of shit.
But they got them on the beach. I said bad scenery.
You know what? I don't know. I just always thought like San
Let
Diego
me tell
was
y'all, when I went to San Diego, that's how I felt. I can't, apparently I went during the wrong month. Nobody gave me the warning. You don't go during May, apparently, and it rained and it was nasty like that and cold and foggy. And I didn't get to enjoy the beach. And I was sitting like that, like them with hand
I
warmers.
always thought of San Diego as supposed to be like paradise as far as the weather goes, but
That's
apparently,
why I said Tony lied to us when they said it doesn't rain in Southern California. That was some bull.
where I heard the weather is nice at though all the time? San Francisco.
No, that's not true.
I know somebody there. They tell me it's amazing, but
They probably do get nice weather, but they get the shits.
I just know it's dumb expensive. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So Miguel, he asks everybody how they're feeling, and Alexa says, "No, no, 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 no. How are you feeling?" Sorry, look, after that display you had last week, what's going on in your life? And he was like, "Yes, last week was pretty challenging
I
for the
was
both
on
of them."
my meal period, and I had some issues.
He was like, there was some moments that he got really frustrated with everything, and
Really?
was starting to have some serious doubts. Justin says that he had a moment where, he was adamant that his decision was a hell no. And he says that, he was in his head and it's hard to get him out when he's in there.
I love Alexa's face when he was saying this, and she was like, "Oh, so you're gonna get cute in front of a group? Okay, okay."
Lindy asked him what specifically, and he said overgeneralizing. Justin is just now discovering all this stuff, and Alexis has always been aware of this shit. Sasha, poor baby, she's cold. Poor little baby, she is over there freezing to death. Alexis is like, boo, you ain't got that vibrator to keep you warm. Alexis, you be right on time with it, boo. So Sasha was like, no, but we had to return that shit. It was broken. It was going off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Miguel tells, damn, that's from overusing, my dear. Y'all was using that way, way too much. So Lindy
Yeah.
asked them how they're doing. Nate says, looking back on the last 7 weeks, they definitely need to learn how to communicate better. Sasha tells him that he has a lack of emotional relationship experience.
Yeah.
And thinks that can irritate her sometimes because she feels that, she has to explain all these things and, the whys behind them. That is not what a man wants to hear. Alex, listen, Sasha, you are normally good at this.
Wrong road.
Wrong road. And she feels that he doesn't trust what she says and brings up the fact that they had a conversation about having kids, and she felt like, you can have kids and have fun, but as soon as and he didn't agree, but as soon as his dad said it, it was like, oh, okay, he has kids, he has experience. F what my wife is saying. I agree with my daddy. I already knew Sasha was gonna have, a problem with that. And in the confessional, Mitch says, it surprises him to hear Sasha saying that she wishes Nate had more life experience. And he thinks that she's just trying to pinpoint what might make her say no if it was a big problem. And how do you think overall they might have a lot more, and how he thinks overall they might have a lot more positives and negatives in their marriage? Sir,
agree.
So they asked Mitch how he's doing, and he says he doesn't think he's 100% clear yet with either of them and what they're going to say. Basically, they still have some exploration to do. Kristen says she thinks that, it's the verbalization for her. He needs to verbalize what he wants and that he wants to be married to her, and feels that, that will make it a yes for her. Period.
Right. Lindy feels like Mitch is a confused individual and Kristen deserves better. She points out how she's giving Mitch an outline of what she wants him to say, and he still can't do it.
We could say the same thing for Miguel, but we ain't gonna do that.
Ooh.
Mr. Mitch has planned a nice little dinner date for Kristen in a private room of what restaurant, I have no idea, but this is big for Mitch.
It looked cute. Yeah, he did
It
some.
was cute.
Production helped him do a little something.
I feel like this is big for him. So Mitch says this is their last chance to, fill each other out before decision day, and he wants to be open and honest with her. Now, Kristen ready to get right to the nitty gritty, and she says, although it's been a wild ride, she's really grateful to have, a match like with him, and to have the time that she's had with him. And she asked him, hypothetically, if they were both to say yes, what does he feel like their life would look like? And he says, since it's so intense, he would like for them to, just be two people in a relationship, like for at least a week. Basically, not married. Like, I don't know. I think I would have taken the same with Kristen took it.
Yeah.
But Kristen was very clear, and I love this. Okay. She let him know that she wants to make it clear that she doesn't do well in confusing environments, and she needs clear, crisp lines. She said that she needs to be married.
And not having a strange husband that she goes on dates with.
Because she doesn't operate well in the gray. So, she says that she's glad that he shared that with her, what he wants, but it's really grayer than what she wants. And he says that he wish that, he wasn't as gray. That, in a perfect world, he would be better. He would be clearer. But, this is who he is, Mr. Mother effing Leo. And, he basically says that he wished he wasn't as gray. And in a perfect world, he wouldn't be. But he feels that that's just what it is. That's how he's feeling. He cannot be moved. Okay. And he tells her that, I know you want a stronger commitment. I know you want a declaration of love. He ain't got it to give. So he asked her if on decision day it's a yes for me, but I can't declare my love. I can't even give you 100% sure that we're a great match for life. Is that good enough for you? Kristen says for her, she thinks it's a start. And she'll take whatever little bit, tiny little minuscule amount that she can get from his ass that ain't giving up shit. She said she'll take it.
I was so disappointed in Kristen when I just take whatever you
You know what it is? It's the fact that, remember what I explained to you, she doesn't get these displays, right? These affectionate displays. Remember when I was saying if you got them all the time, you wouldn't appreciate it.
Right.
So she doesn't get them ever. So even the little bit that he does display, it's like gold to her. She's going to hang on to it. Well, he said this. It means the world to me because he did this. And I know that's not who he is. And that's not his character.
Well, okay, girl. I hear you.
That's why it means so much to her. So, she says it's happy. She's happy to hear, that he's thinking about wanting to continue with her. And basically, like I said, she'll take whatever she can get. She says it's not that she wants to hear, but she's grateful for it. And over the next few days, after talking more, she believes that it'll put them in a good space for them to think about, what they want to do, especially her. Because, now she's, she happy, but she like, I still need to think about it. So he understands that, she has things that she needs to think about and does regret that in the beginning he wasn't a little bit cooler and, feeling shit out.
Right.
And, quick to tell a bitch that he wasn't really feeling her like that. Because he feels like it did their marriage a disservice.
It did.
He also let her know that he's afraid to lose her. I think this was huge. He let her know that he was afraid to lose her. And he definitely doesn't want to.
Huge. I do think that was huge. I'm not going
to. Let me tell you something. Kristen started blushing. And she was like, okay, honey. Now, let me tell you something. Mitch, if you ain't getting nothing that night, boo, I'm sorry for you, because that looked like that was the perfect moment. And it looked like you would have got some.
Right.
So back at the apartment, Kristen tells Mitch that, she wants to propose something. I know he like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is it now?
Right. He's like, I gave you all these loving words.
I even told, look, stop.
Right.
But she was like, since it's the last night before decision day, how about we have Luna sleep in the bed? I think he was so relieved that that's all it was. He was like, yeah, fine. I'll give, yeah, come on, bring her big fat ass in this bed. I don't give a damn. She can take my side of the bed. Okay. And in confessional, Kristen says she's confused. She was confused before decision day. And she was trying to think what this marriage was like as a whole and if it makes sense to her. Mitch tells Kristen that he feels that, she made him better. Make me better. Mitch tells Kristen that he feels that, she made him a better person and felt like he was always responsibly self-aware, but there were some big gaps. And, he appreciates it and feels it's been naturally easy for them to be a good team. I'd be like, so you still not sure though?
Right.
Like after everything you just said, like that'll make you sure. But anyways, so he says he does love her and tells her she's a beautiful person. And she said that she has a lot of love for him also. And she's just trying to navigate, that sometimes it feels romantic and sometimes, she just feels like she really cares about him, but it is still there. And says it makes her really sad just because, just thinking that this could be their last night. And, it's like, look at how happy Luna is. Like, we're a big, happy family. So, they decide to cuddle a little bit and
they have a family meeting
and scoot Luna's big, heavy, fat ass over in the bed. I don't know how the hell you got me fucked up. Then says that she's bummed that Mitch won't be spending the night with her tonight. This they had their last night, but this is the night she's spending the night by herself. And maybe she'll do some meditation, some reflection, take a bubble bath, throw back a couple of cocktails, get her mind right. She says she's nervous for tomorrow and says she really does need some time alone to figure out everything. She also said she's going to do some pros and cons over the last 8 weeks and, just figure out like what her future could look like past decision day. He asked her, what does our future look like if we say yes? She was like, well, it looked like we're going to be apart, according to what the hell you said.
Yeah, she doesn't look like we're going to be separated. We can't stand one another.
What? So he let her know that is not what I meant. No, ma'am. It's not what I meant. Don't take it that way. Okay. But I can understand, Kristen, why you took it that way, because so did I.
He wants to ease his way into the marriage as this process has been exhausting. And Kristen thanks him for clearing that up.
It still wasn't clear to me.
It wasn't clear.
But you know what? I'm not the one in the marriage, so I guess
right.
What I think doesn't matter.
Right.
So she says, she certainly wants to say yes. And he has been a great partner. She says just, she has to think some more on whether they're a great match. And he says he has to do the same. So Kristen says that her and Mitch have talked about the last 8 weeks and she thinks that she's unsure and what makes her feel nervous. Mitch says he feels mostly at peace with his decision, but he's also anxious. I think it's a yes on these two. What you think?
I'm going to say a hard no for Kristen. No, actually, I don't even know. I'm gonna say a no, but I don't know who it's gonna come from. I think it's gonna be Mitch, um, possibly Kristen. I don't know.
Okay. So then he says, he's always struggled with whether the problem was with him or whether he hasn't found the right girl. He doesn't know if he's closed off to love or he just has walls up.
Right. And
I'm gonna say it's a yes for these two for me.
okay.
I know Treese doesn't agree. Treese is saying it could be a yes from either one of them and a no from either one of them, but either way, she feels that they won't be a match. They ain't gonna both say yes.
No, Kristen's gonna say no or Mitch is gonna say no. It's just a matter of who's gonna do it. Who's gonna pull the plug on this charade? Then we jump into Nate and Stasha. They are having dinner. And she asks if there is anything that he wants to
What the hell made you want to do them? Jesus Christ.
And she talks about if there's anything further that they need to talk about before decision day. Nate asks if she's all in and what are her biggest flaws. Now, Sasha's confused by that question, and she tells him she thinks she shared all her flaws with him, so we're not even going to spend time on that, sweetheart. She asked him how he's feeling about this love thing and where he is after 2 months. He feels it's still too early, but he does feel his love for her growing. And says he can see himself loving her and falling in love with her and, being in love with her. However, he doesn't want to force it and he knows it comes with time. He talks about still being shy around her. He's not able to run around naked, things that
I
he
know that's important.
right, and just be more comfortable. And feels like those are things that'll happen naturally. Stasha clearly isn't pleased with this answer, as we know. And he asks her to be patient. She then questions whether he'll ever have that feeling because he's never experienced it. She talks about how it concerns her how he lived with somebody for 2 years and didn't love them and fears being in a loveless marriage. Now, she said he's good at going through the motions, and Stasha feels like it could be deeper, and Nate is immediately feels offended and attacked. And basically is like, so you're saying my affection is not enough. I get up every morning, I, give you the hugs, the kisses, the love. And she's like, I feel like you're just basically, she's like, I just feel like you're doing that just to be doing it.
I think she said like it wasn't genuine. I think she was just saying like it's a routine. Like it's something you get up and do in routine, not like something that's heartfelt that you want to do. It's just, you know what I mean?
What does she call it? I need a burning desire.
I don't think that comes after 2 months. I'm with Nate.
So
I'm the type of motherfucker that like take my time. So I feel you, Nate.
okay. And I'm surprised because Nate is a Pisces and we fall quick. Anyway.
The men are different. The men are different.
Right. Nate points out one of his concerns is not being able to make her happy, and Sasha's getting and her getting bored easily. Nate tells her if she doesn't feel that burning desire, and that's a red flag for him because he out here trying, he doing his best, and that's not enough for her. And Sasha feels he's not listening and creating his own narrative. We can do that. He then calls
I feel like
out,
he was a little bit.
huh?
I felt like he was a little bit.
Yeah. He then calls out whether she thinks he's going through motions, but went and got a goddamn tattoo on his hand. Didn't you realize my level of commitment? What did this mean to you?
She said your level of commitment. That ain't got shit to do with love.
So Sasha says she wants to feel that love and fire and desire. And she doesn't feel it. Okay. So he feels like he does show her, and he gets tired of trying to explain himself, and he gets up and leaves. He's like, I'm done. I'm done. So he feels he's done more than enough to prove himself. And he feels like if he says he loves her, then how will she know if he still doesn't have this burning desire that she talks about? And he feels like she has him going in circles. And basically ask him about this love feeling again. And he tells her straight up, I don't
I
love
you.
okay. Nate says the reason why he
I let him hoe. He's in his feelings right now.
right. And then he talks about what happens when you get bored, and he's stuck with her, which were not the right words, Nate.
Oh, you stuck with me. He's
and
like,
she
yeah, stuck with you.
Right. Him using that term and tells him he doesn't got to be stuck with her.
Period.
And he tells her he doesn't want to be married, basically, to someone who's never satisfied with what he does or questions whether he's being genuine. He says he doesn't have time to go in circles, and he's tired of trying to prove himself. And he's getting to a point where he just doesn't give a damn. So Sasha's upset. Nate is shut the hell down. She feels like he isn't using any of the tools given to him by the ex.
He's not.
He's not. And she feels the fact that he feels he can't do any more. And she doesn't believe that and feels like there are going to be times that she also needs reassurance, which I can agree with. So, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, this is what I hate to play this card. Shade Squad, don't kill me, but I'm gonna have to pull it. This is where I think the age difference comes in.
Because he was given immature. I felt like throughout the whole season, I felt like he was able to communicate. He was expressing himself. He was seeming mature. It was in this conversation
that I realized how immature he really was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She asked him what he likes about being married to her. He hesitates, but says he likes the friendship aspect.
Hesitated. He might as well look.
The Rolling Ray. That was a good one. He likes the friendship aspect. And it makes him hopeful. He says there's a lot of things that they do and it feels effortless. He likes her for her and her personality. Sasha says she's been as genuine, honest, and transparent as possible and has no regrets. Nate says that he doesn't have any either. And Sasha questions, so not even how you went off on me? And Nate says he wishes he didn't, but feels everybody makes mistakes and gets emotional, apologizes. And he says he's regretful. And then Sasha questions, well, if this will still happen, and he says no. And she talks about how as we talked about, the experts giving him tools and how he's not using them. And she wants him to use the tools and points out how he walked off after saying crazy shit to her. And he feels that when he's in the heat of the moment, he can't think like that. Then we see Sasha. She is up. Oh, well, first of all, Nate talks about how he needs encouragement as well. And he doesn't like not being recognized for his efforts. And it just ties into his insecurities about not being good enough, and says that Sasha triggers him. So Sasha feels like that they can work through it and it won't be resolved any day. Or in a day. And he tells her he doesn't want to be unhappy. And right now he's choosing happiness over marriage any day. So then Sasha is missing Nate after he leaves. And she says she's not as optimistic as she was before, and says that the past week has been volatile. Nate says out of the 8 weeks, this one has been the hardest. He says he can't control what Sasha will decide, but he wants her to trust her gut feeling.
What you think gonna happen with them? You think they're gonna make it or no?
I think Sasha is going to, she's seen that other fish. I think she's going to say a hard no.
And you think he's gonna say yes?
Yes.
I think they're both gonna say yes.
I would like them to both say yes. I would like them to work it out.
So Miguel has decided to take Lindy back to a winery
to try to fix the last date that they had.
That was completely fucked up. So she asked Miguel how he's feeling. And he says he's feeling fine. They definitely had a tough week, but he's happy to be there, and wine and dine her, and feels like it's important, especially, after the last winery trip that they went on.
Yeah, I think he messed up the last one.
Yeah, he messed it up.
No, he said it. He even said he took full blame. Don't.
Yeah, otherwise she would bust into tears. I feel like if it was a normal conversation, yes. I feel like he was actually trying to go deep with her. That's why I feel like she messed it up. It wasn't like some bullshit. Like, oh my God, let me show you these pictures in my phone. Let me show you my IG. Da, 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 da. I'm sitting here trying to say a poem to you and go deep with you and have deep conversations, and you're worried about people taking pictures of us on their goddamn iPhone.
Well, her friend do that too, so I don't know
That
why.
was her sister. And guess what? Her sister's having trouble in her marriage. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. um, so he says that the weekend by no means is who he is and he wants to be. And he wishes, he could have reacted differently. But he says that he apologizes and he wants to learn from it and move on. What I want to point out is that Miguel is not saying that he's wrong. He wishes that his reaction was different. Because I agree with him, it is disrespectful as fuck. Lindy says that she needs to reassess if if it's taken too much of her to like filter herself, because she could definitely boil over. We know this. She tells us all the time.
Right.
But it was helpful talking to Gabby, being able to express herself freely and not having to worry about if Miguel, was going to leave her based off of what she said. He said that he knows he hasn't been her rock that she needs. And he doesn't know if
he can be that rock.
He can be the strength to hold her accountable, as she mentioned, and put her in her place. Apparently, this is some shit she told him. And Lindy says, that comment was not supposed to be like, I need management constantly. It means, to help her step up when she's low.
I just want you to kiss my butt constantly and tell me I'm right and never call me out on anything.
Because I ain't never had no exes do it before. He says it scares him sometimes because she has such a strong personality and it overwhelms him. He says, it's a lot being thrown at him. And she's very theatric, which she is.
Use that word.
And when that happens, he feels like he's caught off guard and it takes a lot out of him. He says he's having to reevaluate everything and that he thought he knew about marriage, and going into this, like, y'all got you got Miguel thinking whether he was even ready for marriage or not.
Right.
Okay. He's like, I don't even know if I signed up for the wrong goddamn show.
Right.
Maybe look, maybe this ain't for me.
He was like, maybe Bachelorette. I didn't think.
Period. He like not married at first sight. I fucked up. So Miguel is packing up, and of course, he comes to Lindy, and Lindy's with her theatrics again about, him leaving. And I want you to go, don't leave. She just can't help herself. Like, this is the first night we're going to spend away from each other since we've known each other. She's making this big deal out of one damn night. Can't they FaceTime? I don't know. It's really not that serious.
She's doing that because I don't think they are supposed to talk to each other. I think it is supposed to be
like at all.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a moment of clarity, like take that 24 hours for yourself, rejuvenate, really think about what you want, because that's almost like if they call you, it's an influence. So I really do think they're supposed to take that 24 hours completely to themselves to really think about what they want to do.
She probably needs it. They both probably need it too, though. So Lindy tells him that, she's mentally prepared for whatever his decision is, but she also has things that she needs to think about. And she wants to make sure she's putting herself first. Where After expressing all of her emotions, Miguel says they need to get to a place where she sees it for what it is and basically not just what she's feeling.
Mm.
Um, and he says that he really didn't feel like, he was controlling, that he was just expressing himself. And she lets him know that control is not just saying, you do this, you do that. Basically, it's also, you know, if you don't do this or if you don't act this way, I'm out.
And she also doesn't like feeling like she has to censor herself.
I don't feel, I mean, I'm not a therapist, so I don't know if that's control. I don't, I feel like that's boundaries.
And then she questions her, where how to get her frustration out if she can't verbalize that to him. She's like, do I need to go get a therapist? Do I need to, what do I do? Do I just, and Miguel is like, I'm here to come. But Miguel,
He
I
said,
know
by no means, am I your therapist?
he continues to say throughout the process, I may not be able to handle. I think Miguel is giving us a clue. Because he keeps saying throughout that I may not be able to handle, I may not be able, and Lindy, and you know what, you're not wrong. I just made it. He keeps saying that.
Yeah, this is not some shit he want to deal with for the rest of his life.
Hmm.
Lindy says that she thinks Miguel is on the same page as her, but it's hard to know. Miguel says despite how great everything was with Lindy, they still had some challenges and, it's tough, and says it takes two to make it work. And if she feels a certain way, like it's not working for her since it's good for her, like it's good for her for speaking up and basically let the cards fall where they may.
What is your guess on this one, ma'am?
I think for Miguel it's a no, and for Lindy it's a yes.
I feel like we should put some money on this. This will be much better. He's funny.
I already wrote them down. It's up to you. If you what you want to do, what you want to do.
I think we should do what? Maybe like $1 for everyone we get.
This
Right.
happened. She loved betting, boy. She loved betting.
I'm a gambler. I'm sorry, y'all. Um, and see now you're making me think about it because I got to think about the odds. But I'm gonna say Miguel is a yes. Lindy is a yes. I think that they crazy asses gonna stay together.
Okay, so you said, let me get this right. You said Kristen is gonna say no. Mitch
Yeah.
is gonna say yes.
Yes.
And I said yes for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
You said Stasha was a no.
Yes.
Nate is a yes.
Yes.
And I said yes for both of them. You said Miguel is a yes and Lindy is a yes. And I said no to Miguel and yes to Lindy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Justin, oh, well, we already hold on. Now, Alexis and Justin meet up for their date, and he surprises her with a garden full of sunflowers, which apparently is her favorite flower. And I thought this was very cute. And me and Nails were talking about this. Love when men pay attention. That's
yes.
so
Importante.
right. So he apologizes for being so in his head and realizes he can get stuck there and says that he is trying to make it right. Alexis says that that's a challenge for her because regardless of what she tells him, he doesn't hear her. He tells her about the conversation with his mom and how she recognized he was scared, and he often does get like this when he's scared about something. Alexis says that 90% of her wants to say yes and is hopeful that what her husband is telling her is true. And he realizes, like, oh, this is what's wrong. And she wants to let him show improve. However, she feels like it may just be lip service. So,
because it literally happened like a week before.
right.
The
She
week of.
no days before, not the week before.
Yeah, I was about to say the week of.
She talks about how with decision day coming up, she says that was one of her worries. She then asked him what he needs from her. Justin says he wants to feel desired and he needs initiation in the bedroom. Not all the time. He just wants her to try to put it on him sometimes.
She doesn't desire you, homie. Because if she did, you wouldn't have to ask for that.
So Alexis says she can do it, but he lets her know that he can also step outside his comfort zone and talks about how he told his mom, and his mom said that he needed to be freakier.
She was like, hold up. You didn't tell me about this conversation.
Let me tell y'all something. I dated a dude and he used to tell his mom like that. And then she would try to come give me advice. And let me tell you, that's the most unattractive thing.
The mom used to come and try to give you advice?
Yeah.
What about being freaky?
Yeah, with her son.
That you need to be freaky? That you
Right. Right.
that you need to be freaky?
Instead of worrying about your son getting a goddamn job. But anyway, so on to other things.
Look. Money make me come. Money make me come. Look, I'll be a hell. Look, tell that man to get a job, and I'll turn his ass out.
Okay. So Alexis says that she still has her doubts, but it would be about consistency and foundation. She tells him this is married at first sight, not best friends at first sight, and maybe they are better off friends.
I felt like this conversation so took a turn for the left.
So then Alexis and Justin talk after dinner and discuss how they feel. She says she's usually not an emotional person, but he's taking her through a lot of twists and turns. And she asks how he's feeling, and he says that at this point, either it's a yes or a no. She says she's still on the fence about what to do on decision day. She says it's a lot for her and wonders if that means something. She doesn't know if it might be too late since now he had this realization of who he is after she's been saying the same thing for 7 weeks. He doesn't think that all their time, has been bad. And she admits it hasn't, but questions, again, this realization, and feels like now she needs affirmation. So he tells her he can't go back 7 weeks. And she says she's realizing it's a huge decision and tells him that she's his number one fan and that, she wants it to work out. Justin wants Alexis to come with him the last 24 hours. And she says that basically that defeats the purpose. Go away. He says no, that they can just walk in there together. And she feels like, they've been through a lot. They had their good and bad times. It was a really cute moment. She realizes this process did make her commit. And she talks about learning to put the solution before the problem. I didn't understand that, but I did understand what she was saying. But okay. I guess you can get that. Alexis says she's hopeful, but still indecisive.
I know what I did get was she was like, if I did say no, you'd probably be my stalker.
Right, she did say that. But also doesn't want to hurt him thinking she's making the right decision for her, but the wrong one for their marriage. Now, Alexis says one of the biggest decisions of her life is to stay married or not stay married. And she says it's a lot of pressures, fears, possibilities that this may not work out in the future and they may be wasting each other's time. And Justin said he's just ready to get everything over with. Bets, people, bets.
What you think?
Alexis is going to say no.
I already put mine down. And what about Justin?
Justin. See, this is the hard part. They have to, okay, let's do this.
I know, I wish they had a sign that they already wrote the answers on.
Because Justin has to give his answer first.
How you know?
No, I'm saying because if Alexis says no,
then he's gonna say no.
Say yes. So I feel like it's unfair. And honestly, I feel like
that's why I like marriage boot camp, because they already come out with a ring in a box or not.
Right.
You already know the answer. They can't just switch it up on the couch. But yes, you're right. If she says no, and before,
I feel like Alexis might do the same thing. I feel like if Justin says no, then she'll says no. I feel like they're both. So that's a hard one. But I'm going to say Justin's going to say yes.
That's what I have. I have Justin says yes.
And she get him first. He's going to say yes.
I have that he says yes, and she says no. But you're 100% correct. I wish they had like a sign or something where they had to write it and like hold it up at the same time.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you guys
Yes,
for
thank
tuning
you.
in to another review of Married at First Sight. We are almost through the season, so we want to thank you guys for sticking through it with us. We know we have
And
not.
let us know in the comments what y'all think
Right,
the
please let us
decision is going to be
know.
before next week.
But yes, we appreciate it, and we thank you for sticking through it with us. We know we haven't always been timely, but we appreciate when we do post it. Y'all show us love, making sure you're dropping down in the comments, giving us those likes, and we appreciate it, guys. And we see the subscribers growing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have not already, please make sure that you hit that like button,
You comment,
you subscribe,
and you hit the notification bell.
and y'all make sure you're following us on all the platforms that are the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, the IG. And we got more coming, more things to do. We're growing, we're going, and we hope you'll do it with us. And we love you guys, and we will catch you for hopefully next week should be decision day. I ain't got no more time for y'all Married at First Sight. Hopefully next week
Unless we get a break. I'm okay with a break.
yeah, unless it's a break. But what we're not doing is y'all just whatever. Anyway, but thank you guys. We'll catch us next week or maybe the week. We don't know. We'll figure it out. Decision day is when we see y'all. I'm not coming back before then. Love you. Bye bye.
Good night.